I am trying to do runs on the woodwind section. The brass fills the middle range, and tuned percussion fills up the top, but it's hard to decide if the direction. So you're trying to ask about like where to put the woodwinds. This is something, if I'm understanding correctly, I want to make sure to share something. Golden rule of arranging music. This is something I've shared before, but it's still worth sharing. Stop thinking of your choices in terms of instruments and focus instead on voices or layers. All right, if you can get this through your head and you can actually apply it, literally, your quality of arrangements and orchestration are going to jump up multiple levels. So beginner orchestrators and beginner arrangements, kind of like arranging, tend to have this erroneous approach to writing. I was guilty of it too, all right? I think almost everyone starts off guilty of this. All right, I've got 3 flutes. I haven't used the flutes yet in this piece. What can the flutes do? Or, I haven't really used my woodwind section all that much. What can my woodwinds be doing? Or another big one is the brass section. It's like, man, don't really have the brass doing much. What can the brass do? This is well-intended, but fundamentally flawed. All right, because then your focus becomes on just using resources because you have them, instead of making decisions based off what is best for your music. So instead of thinking, what can I have this instrument do? You want to think, what layers or voices do I have in my music right now that I have sketched out or come up with? And of the instruments available, which ones are best suited? All right. If you can start thinking in terms of layers, as in here's my melody, and I have sketched out my melody, which instrument do I think is the best suitable to play this melody? Or I have written an ostinato and runs. Which instruments would be best suited for that? This new approach is going to take, like I said, it's going to level up your arrangements tenfold. All right, so for example, with my sketches, I always start with a piano sketch on my music. Always. Not everybody does that, but I find this very, very helpful. So let's look at this chunk right here. So this little idea is not playable on a single piano by a single player, but it's not meant to be playable by a single piano and a single player. It's meant to just get my basic idea out for the theme. My piano, my computer's struggling to play it. Probably should have let my contact library warm up a little bit. But regardless, this is my sketch. And again, you could not play this on a piano with just one player. It's way too many octaves spanning at the same exact time. Now, if I wanted to arrange this, my approach that I would take, and that I will take, because this piece does need to get arranged, an approach. All right, so step one, identify each layer / voice in your music. This is called your texture. Your texture is the number and types of layers in your music, and it's one of the most important skills to master. If you want to master the skills of writing with multiple different textures, check out my textbook, which is an amazing resource, or if you are strapped for cash and you're just looking for free resources, check out tabletopcomposer.com, go to the Academy page, and then check out Fundamental Arranging Techniques. It's a 100% free class. If you do sign up, please consider just making a donation. Even $1 is very, very helpful. All donations to the Academy go towards helping to make more classes available in the future, because I do want to add more classes to here. But yes, this class right here will teach you more about writing interesting textures. So once you have identified each layer in your voice, each layer or voice in your music, step 2 is to identify which layer is the foreground, all right, or most important. Typically, this is going to be the melody. But if there's not a melody, it's kind of up to you. Which one do you want the audience to focus the most on? Once you have identified which layer you want to be the most important, step 3 is to identify the vibe or personality you want to encompass with this layer. All right. Maybe you want a feeling of excitement. Maybe you want something that's a little more morose and melancholy. Maybe you want something filled with dread and doom or what have you. All right. Whatever it is, you've got an idea of what kind of mood, what kind of personality you want, right? Maybe it's a weird energy personality like I have. But step 4 is to make a quick list of all the instruments available that could portray this vibe or personality. Now, a note on this will take time. This is just going to take experience to figure out which instrument can do what. A lot of beginners really try to jump the gun and just find videos that tell them what personality each instrument has. That's not really the best approach. There are lists out there. I find that they very rarely are accurate or even helpful. If you want to master what personality and vibe each instrument is capable of, you just need to listen to music. All right? Listen to music and take notes on your phone. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be anything super detailed. Just say, all right, I am listening to Jurassic Park. All right, wow, this is a really cool feeling of an adventure. All right, what do you hear? All right, well, I hear the trumpets on the melody. I hear the strings on a soaring little moving line or whatever. Just take little notes, a little here and there. It's like this music made me feel this emotion. This is the instrument that was playing the melody. These are other things I noticed. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't even have to pause the music and re-listen. Just take a quick notes on the first things that jump out to you. You only need to do this for a little while before you start to ingrain that information and it starts to come more naturally to you. I promise you, it does not take a lot of effort. If you start looking for these kind of patterns, these ideas, it'll just stick to you. All right, so take some time. Just kind of do that. But once you've got step 4, make a quick list of all the instruments available that could portray this vibe and personality. Step 5 is consider the part you have written. Which instruments can physically play this part while delivering your vibe? So this is essentially a process of elimination at this point. You made a quick list of all the instruments that could play this part. You're like, all right, violin, French horn, and I don't know, oboe can all play this part. And trombones, we'll throw trombones in there. And you go, all right, step 5, all right, this is the part I've written. This is the octave it's in. Ooh, in that octave, the trombones probably aren't a good choice. So I'm going to get rid of the trombones. Now, if you want a short list of things to consider for figuring out if this line is appropriate for an instrument, you want to consider the range and dynamics of the part. All right, where in the range is this part written? How loud does it need to be performed? Once you have that, what register would these would place your instrument in? So let's say you've written a nice, beautiful melody, and it's about around C5, so a little octave higher than middle C. And you find out that, yes, technically this part would be playable on a piccolo. For whatever reason, you don't dip below D5, so it's physically playable on a piccolo. But you need it to be played relatively loud, about mezzo forte, and you need a bright, chipper personality. All right, well, if you've spent any time listening to piccolo or studying the range of the piccolo, you know that the very bottom range, the very bottom register of the piccolo is super soft, and very kind of dark and intimate and very weak. Not exactly a good register for an excited kind of melody, right? So piccolo off the list, no longer an option. Again, you want to learn more about registers, check out my textbook on sale on my website for Black Friday. I also have that free class on instrumentation that can be a good starting point. Once you have done this, step 6 is select your favorite from the remaining options. All right, easy as that. The golden rule behind this is that if an instrument is physically capable of playing the part and delivering the general vibe you want, it doesn't really matter which one you go with. As long as it can perform it, it's going to sound irreplaceable. Because musicians and even like a MIDI mock-up have a way of making an idea sound very natural, so long as it plays to the strengths of the instrument itself. So don't overthink it, just pick your favorite. From here, step 7 is to repeat the whole process for each of your remaining layers of the music. All right? With one caveat. This time, however, make sure to consider balance as well. So balance meaning all right, if you chose a flute in its middle register to play the melody, you probably don't want the French horns and trombones playing the chords, right? They wouldn't balance. The one flute can't overpower even one French horn, not if it's in its mid to low register. All right, unless of course you modify the sound of the French horn and use a fiberglass mute, which a fiberglass mute and sticking the French horn within its preferred register of G3 to C5 would modify the sound appropriately so that one French horn could be matched by one flute. Now, if you want to learn more about this kind of information, this is something I really should do a lot more about. But right now, if you want to learn about like how many instruments, you want to learn the trick about how to make a French horn balance well with a flute, this ebook right here, Harmonic Balance or How to Balance the Modern Orchestra, this is the only resource I've released where it talks specifically about this balance and how to balance all of these instruments. It tells you how many flutes it takes to balance a single trumpet, what happens if you put a straight mute in the trumpet, how does that change the sound and the balance, all that kind of cool stuff. So that's another little sales pitch. But that's the approach I would recommend to Mashi. So with this approach, rather than trying to think, how can I have my flutes or woodwinds do a run, you'd want to think about what layers do I need in this arrangement. And is that ostinato important? And once you have your ostinato, this is why I recommend starting with a sketch for piano, once you just have all your layers figured out, because then, of course, you can make a much more well-built and well-written arrangement than trying to go instrument by instrument. So that was a way longer kind of rant than I was expecting. But I hope that was helpful. That was fun. I enjoyed that.